Hi, and welcome to Sensei of Sales. We have a fantastic module here for you today, which is Sales Fundamentals. Now, the essence of actually being a master or a sensei of sales is about understanding the integral parts of being a salesperson. It's about the customers, it's about yourself, it's about how you actually work and the most effective way that you can actually deliver your sales process to ensure that you have a higher turnover. And when we say turnover, what we're talking about is finding individuals who may have an interest in your product or service and converting them into an actual buying customer, purchasing your product. There's an easy way and there's a hard way. And I guarantee by understanding and taking heed to the points I'm going to put here in Sales Fundamentals, it will definitely make you or put you in a better position to ensure that you get those sales. Because that's what we want, for you to essentially become a master, a sensei of sales, and to pass on this information to your sales team, which we'll be talking about in later modules. Now, I've broken it down into 4 main areas. The first part being customer focus. Now, if you don't have an understanding of your customers, what they're about, what they're interested in, and more importantly, when and where to target them, you're just literally making it harder for yourself. So customer focus is going to be the first part I'm going to be talking about. The second part is going to be about having a rational, optimistic outview on how you're going to actually target your customers. What is the rationale that you need to have? Do you need to have a bit of a pessimistic view, a bit of a negative vibe, or do you need to be optimistic? Do you need to have a positive mindset? Absolutely. And I'm going to be going into the details of what being a rational, optimistic salesperson is all about. The third part, which is my favorite, is talking about being tenacious, or as some people call it, resilience. Being tenacious is so important in actually being a salesperson because you're going to receive so many objections, so many no's, so many I'm not interested. How do you turn that around to stay in a positive mindset to actually deliver the most effective sales pattern or process that you can give to your customers to ensure you actually achieve the sale? Now, in having the customer focus, in having the rational, optimistic outview on how you're going to actually deliver, in having that tenacity and having that resilience and dealing with objections, you now need to have a process. You see, in sales, there's a science to how you actually deliver the timing, the objection handling, and actually understanding your customer. Now, in the activity part, I'm going to be focusing on from a more recruitment angle. And the reason why I've chosen recruitment as a sales sector to base the activity process on is because I actually believe it's one of the hardest sales sectors to work in. To be honest with you, dealing with the fact that you have 2 people that you're actually selling to. You've got the person looking for the job and you've got the person that is actually looking for the candidate to work within their company. I believe it's one of the hardest sectors to work in. And with my 10-year experience in it, I'm going to be going into a bit of the details on how to actually be the most effective recruitment salesperson you can be. So those are the 4 main areas, okay? So you've got it. It's about having a customer focus. It's about having a rational, optimistic outview on how you're going to target your customers. It's about being tenacious. And last but not least, having a science, a plan, an activity program, and how you're going to actually deliver your sales on a day-to-day basis. So let's rewind and go back to the beginning. Customer focus. What do we mean by that? Well, the first thing is, if you have customers and you don't understand them, how do you approach? Essentially, everyone who you meet on the street or a database of numbers you have or any person that you meet could be interested in your product or service. But in having such a vague understanding of your customers, you could actually be making the whole process of you selling rather difficult, an uphill struggle. So what we actually do at KB Consultancy, for example, is we try and understand our customers by going through a process of identifying who are we selling our product to. Once we've discovered who our customers are, it's then about actually delivering the sales product or service to them. Because now we understand them, it makes it a lot easier to actually sell to them. I'll give you an example. Imagine you're a car salesperson and you actually want to set up shop in a suburban area, which is riddled with families, you know, mum, a dad, 2 kids, and a dog. And you're going in there and you sell coupes, you sell sports cars, sports BMWs, like an i8, car that I love. But realistically speaking, the target audience that you have in that area they're looking for saloon cars, they're looking for 5-seater, they're looking for saloon, they're looking for MPVs, they're looking for larger vehicles that can accommodate all of them as a family going out. Selling a two-door coupe or a two-seater car, it's not going to add value to these families. They're not going to really be looking for that type of vehicle. Now, it doesn't mean you're not a good salesperson if you're not selling. You've got a great product, you're a sensei of sales, but you've got a bit of a challenge, haven't you? Because you're actually going to be selling a vehicle that these customers may not necessarily be interested in. So maybe what you want to do in identifying your target audience there is to think, is it worth me actually selling coupes in this area? Or should I actually think about selling the right type of product to that demographic? So by identifying your customers, you then get a clear aspect as to who am I selling to and what are they going to be interested in. So by having a customer focus, you're then making the aspect of selling your product a lot easier. Maybe now you'll be thinking, let me get some 5-seater, 5-door saloon cars, and I'm going to sell them in there. Whatever, you know what I'm saying. Understand your customers and sell the right product to them. Don't make it hard for yourself. Being a sensei of sales does involve a strong element of understanding who your customers are. So the second part, rational optimism. Now, being rational is about understanding that there's a realistic view that you can have as a salesperson, and there's an irrational one. For many salespersons, they actually think that, okay, if I'm targeting 10 people and I'm coming to them with the perfect product, the perfect service, the perfect pitch, I'm a sensei of sales, that the likelihood is I will be able to convert 50 to 75% of them into purchasing my product. Is that really being rational? I'll tell you from my experience, it is absolutely not. Being a salesperson is about dealing with a lot of no's, a lot of objections. And we're going to go into a bit of that when I'm dealing with the next topic, which is tenacity. The rational view that you want to have as a salesperson is understanding that only about 25% of your target audience are likely to convert from being an interested party to someone who's actually going to purchase your product or service, let alone becoming someone who does the repeat business and keeps coming back to your company and saying, oh, I want more, I'm really interested in this. That's probably even half of that 25%. So you need to have a rational view of, you know what, being a salesperson, I'm going to get more no's than I'm going to get a yes. And having this view is going to make you a little bit more realistic and less prone to having that rejection that will throw you off your game and have you going home that day like, I'm not a good salesperson. You're amazing, you're great. This is the reality of sales. A lot of them are going to say no to you. Now, when I say rational optimism, it's having like an optimistic view. It's having a positive mindset. You see, with sales, whether you're on the phone or face-to-face or over a counter or even knocking on people's doors, I get a lot of them knock on my door trying to sell me window panes, solar panels, you name it. How they feel, their vibe, their positive attitude comes across, not only in their tone, but in their body language. You see the way I'm talking to you now? I have a positive view. I'm happy, I'm dandy, and it's got to come across to you. I'm almost approaching you as if I know you like what I'm saying. I know you're engaging. I know you're feeling what I'm actually selling to you. If you don't have that optimistic view or mindset, it's going to really affect your whole sales process. But you still need to have a rational mindset around it, understanding that not everyone's going to take what you're offering. Now, the key thing to also understand is most sales come after an essential part which we call objections. Objection handling is a key part of being an effective salesperson, let alone a sensei. A lot of people are going to be saying to you, I'm very interested in your product, but I'm not sure if it's something I'm willing to pay for right now. And you need to understand that it's not the fact they don't have money to purchase your product. They just don't see the significance in forking out the money that they're prioritizing for bills, for their dog to get a wash, their car to get a wash, to pay for their mortgage. You haven't sold it to them to make them think you need to take this product now. And if you don't, you're missing out on an amazing deal. So that objection that comes in is something that you need to be prepared for. You need to understand that, you know what, realistically, 75% of them are going to have an objection. And how many of them am I going to really be able to convert once I handle their objection for them to actually purchase my product? So I'm not saying, sell yourself short or don't think you can do it. It's just to have a realistic approach to your sales process. This way, you're going to become the most effective salesperson, not only within your team, not only within your business, but within your sector. Mark my words. And in dealing with all this objection, it's what's going to lead you to the third essential part, which is really my favorite part, tenacity. Now listen, you got to be thick-skinned to be a salesperson. I'm telling you that with the utmost sincerity. You will have the phone put down on you. You will have doors shut on you. You will even have customers that are ready to purchase your product, and at the last minute, you'll get an email or a phone call, or you probably wouldn't even be able to get hold of them anymore. And the whole sales team is thinking, what's happened to this person? I thought it was a done deal. Please remember, in sales, it's not done until you get the signatories. And you're only as good as your last sale. Don't become overconfident, but have that tenacity, have that resilience to know that some of these customers are not gonna actually like what I have to say. Perhaps I'm contacting them at the wrong time. Perhaps what I'm offering to them is not something they're interested in. Maybe they're looking for a big cup and I'm trying to sell a small one. So they're telling me, excuse me, don't call me again. I'm not interested. Phone's down. And then you think to yourself, I'm not good at this. I can't sell. Likelihood is you may even go through periods where your sales process just isn't working. But what you have to do is to have belief. Trust me, if I'm saying it to you and I've got over 10 years experience in sales, it's right and it works. You need to believe in your process and be consistent. Keep trying. Tomorrow is another day. Pick up the phone, make another call, and forget about what happened. Do you know what? Sometimes I even advise the team, call back the same person that hung up the phone on you and try a different approach. Be tenacious. Just go at it and be thick-skinned. You have to remember that this is work. This is sales. And as much as I said in the previous part is to have, a sort of positive mindset, the key is to really try and separate emotion from the business you're doing. You're here to make a call. You're here to sell a product, to sell a service. And if you allow the emotions to get in play, it's going to affect you. Your next call, they will hear that demotivated, that affected person who's just had the phone knocked down on them, who's had a sale that's fallen through. You need to be strong-minded. And if you apply this mindset, if you remain tenacious, trust me. In fact, I'll tell you this secret. I'm going to share a secret with you. Most of your ongoing sales that will lead to repeat business, which is a salesperson's dream, you no longer have to pitch them. They contact you, hi Kwame, you know that product you sold me? We want some more, it's fantastic. Most of that comes from the most resilient customers that you try to sell to. The ones that have all the objections and you struggle to close that sale. If you can break through to them, you've got a customer for life. And you know what's great about them? It means any other salesperson that tries to sell a similar product to what you're selling is going to go through the same difficulty to get through to them. So if you can stay tenacious and just get past that barrier, you've got a customer for life. And that's why it's one of the fundamental aspects of being a sensei of sales. So, okay, you've done your customer focus. You've identified who you want to approach. You've discovered, you've gone to them with a positive mindset. You've got that rational, optimistic attack. You're like, positive, I know you want this. You've applied tenacity because some of the customers have told you, I'm not really interested, but you've got past the objection and you've sold it to them. Now, this next area, which is part 4, called activity, is how to harness all of that understanding, all of that knowledge, and apply it to the activity part of when you're making your sales. Now, I said I'm going to talk to you about recruitment. So let's break it down like this. In recruiting, you're dealing with both the person who's looking for the job and the employer who's looking for the person who's going to join their organization. These are integral, important. These are decisions which can change a company's outlay, their revenue, how well they do if they hire the wrong person. So you have to understand that in recruiting, you have to respect, what they're looking for. It's so specific. It's so delicate. And then you have somebody who's probably leaving a job or a company they're comfortable with to move to a different location and start in a new company. And they may be working on their career, depending on where you're working. So you really have to move delicately, and you have to understand this fundamental thing that they can change their minds at any point. And the timing, the preciseness of when you contact each individual is integral to the success of your sales process. Now, we had this process working in recruitment, which worked every time. And it works like this. We would work from 8 in the morning to about 7 in the evening. And we structured times within the day that we would target specific individuals, when we would contact the employers and when we would contact those who were looking for the job. Now, the activity process worked like this. Between 8 and 10 in the morning, we will contact every candidate that had registered online on our website looking for work. Why 8 to 10? Because they're the ones looking for work. By contacting the managing directors or the CEOs or the decision makers, which is a key part that you need to target, but I cover that in later modules. The likelihood of contacting a decision maker between 8 and 10 and having a successful phone call in acquiring a vacancy or letting them buy into your process where you can actually start sending them candidates is very, very low. Why? Because if you think about a director or a business owner, what are they likely doing between 8 and 10? Most of them don't really like starting work till 10 in the morning, or they have their set hours where they want to work. They're probably having their sales meeting or a meeting with the team. They've got phone calls and emails and all of yesterday's junk that they need to deal and clear before the new day begins. Now, if you're trying to contact a director, I'm a director, if you're calling me at 9 a.m., I'm probably not even going to answer the call. So what we found, and this is a science process that we developed over time, is that we more often than not got through to decision makers between the hours of 10 a.m. and 12 in the afternoon. So we decided that between 8 and 10, early part of the morning, let's get all the candidates out of the way. Let's find our products, the best products, and have them ready for our target audience. Between 10 and 12, we now focused on the actual decision makers. These are the ones who are involved in deciding, I want to take on this candidate, I'm interested in them or not. Now, between 12 and 2 in the afternoon, we then would revert back to contacting candidates. And this process literally went on through the course of the sales process day. And the whole point of managing your activity and having a science process is it's going to make it easier for your delivery. You can be a sensei of sales. Yes, you can have the greatest pitch, the best product, but why make it hard for yourself? Why give yourself an uphill struggle? So by applying an activity process, you're then making your process a lot easier. Target the right customers at the right time. You're more likely to get a win and to get a yes. Now, how many calls do you think you should make a day? 120 calls. At least 3 hours on the phone is what you need to do. You need to be in, you need to be hardworking. In fact, you need to be hot like I am right now, perspiring, working like, oh, I'm not making the calls, it's not going through, this person's hung up the phone to me. You need to go in, you need to sweat, you need to get all in. That's how you're actually going to achieve your goals. Being a sensei of sales is one of the hardest aspects of any business. But once you master it, trust me, your turnover will increase, your sale process will become a lot easier, and you will actually understand that the fundamental part of sales and applying them is something that will actually make the whole process a lot more successful. I hope you've understood all the areas and all the parts that we've delivered today. I guarantee that you will become a sensei of sales by applying these fundamental aspects. Now, don't stop there. Click on to the next module because we've got some more fantastic information to share with you. Thank you for listening.